Thank you everybody for your patience as we get started. I see we have about 7 participants in the call this morning so far. That's wonderful. We might just wait just a minute or two for a couple more folks to show up if they are able to. Donnie or Abraham here in just a moment. I think Abraham said he would lead us in a prayer this morning. And then I will share my screen and get started on our presentation today, which is all about communications and how to handle some of our social media stuff. So I'm going to pause now and hand it over to Abraham, who can bring us together this morning.
Sure, well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to lead a prayer right now. Unetlana, we come to you in prayer today to give thanks for all the blessings that we have. Give thanks for this opportunity to come together, to learn from one another, to help build each other up. Pray that you please be with those who are hurting today, who are ill, who are fighting against COVID. Pray that you please just give them strength and give them comfort. Pray that you please be with our communities who are helping one another out during this tough time, and help everybody to remain resilient and to persevere. We thank you for the opportunity to help one another and be there for one another and to learn today. Whoa, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Abraham. That was wonderful. Thanks for bringing us together and getting us centered. And I just want to say thanks for everybody. We did get a couple more people to jump on here. I just want to say thank you. I know you all have a lot of wonderful things that you could be doing today, and you chose to spend part of it with us, and that makes us very happy. And so in turn, we're going to try to deliver as much as good stuff to you as we possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and ultimately when this happens on my end, I stop seeing some of the functions, but awesome Abraham and Donnie are here to help us with that so that all the questions and answers and chats can be properly acknowledged, and we can, get to everything that everybody needs. If I go to the regular presentation presenter view of this thing, then I can't see any of the chat functions or anything at all. And so I like to do it this way instead. I know it's not the cleanest way to do it, but this way I can see my notes and everything and can help you all if needed. Okay, Patsy said that there is no link on the Facebook page, which is why there might not be as many folks as normally is, and that makes sense. And I think I've got another message over here that says I think Donnie's going to try to pop it up there. So thanks, Patsy, for letting us know that. And as you know, if you've been any of my presentations before, I try to keep these pretty interactive as we can on Zoom these days. So as I am asking questions, feel free to put those in the chat or the Q&A, and we will keep track of those throughout. So again, thanks everyone for your patience as we get together, and I'm going to get started and go over a little bit of our agenda here. So today we are talking about communications with CCO and within the other organizations, among all of the organizations. So we'll just be talking about different ways that you can engage through social media, through email, and ways to use some of the technology that's available to keep your community meetings moving forward in this time when we can't physically be together. Want to talk just a little bit about news sources that get circulated, and then we'll have time for some questions and answers at the end. And if we have time, I would like to talk to some of you about the, well, I would like to talk to anybody for whom this is important, but we'll be talking about the process of becoming 501c3. And we'll probably pull a separate training out of this, but this is, again, something that a lot of organizations have come to me and they've asked about. And now that we're in a new year, I think there's a renewed excitement to do this. So we'll just sort of talk about what that process will be like if there's time. This isn't going to, like I said, there'll be a more comprehensive, bigger one at another time, but we might do this if there's time. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to start with talking about social media. And for most of our CCO groups, this particularly becomes Facebook, because almost all of our organizations have a Facebook page. All but two CCO organizations have a Facebook page. And then a few of them may have a Twitter account or an Instagram account. And that's helpful, but I think the ones that are most beneficial to our orgs is Facebook as a social media platform. And the benefits of social media and Facebook are that there's availability for a wide audience. There's billions of people on Facebook and utilizing different social media platforms. So it's available worldwide, and it means that it's a way that people can come find your organization. One of the things that we often hear the CCO staff is, how do we grow our organizations? Well, having a social media account that's active and engaged and trustworthy, and that people are sharing things and they're being respectful, that is a really great way to grow your organization, to get people more involved in it. I think that I would like to develop like maybe sort of a mini training series that specifically looks at the different ways to tackle your Facebook page. So right today, we're kind of doing a high level overview of these communication strategies, but we might be able to do a series that's like a little more specific on how to engage and things like that. The important thing to keep in mind here is that the benefits are that people can find you using this. If you Google, Cherokees in Tucson, you have the opportunity, if your page is engaged and it's active, that you could be one of the first search engines, one of the first search results on Google, for example. Your Facebook page can. So this is really an important way that you can grow your organization and keep in contact with folks and really engage current and future members. So that's just talking about the importance of social media. The disadvantage of social media, of course, and this is just our national conversation that we're having right now, is that it's very easy to spread misinformation or disinformation, where misinformation, I believe the difference between the two is that one is intentional and the other one is sort of accidental, like, hey, I didn't realize that wasn't true, and so I accidentally shared it. But the point being, a disadvantage to social media is that it's easy to spread bad information, things that aren't true, and it does require upkeep, or else your social media channel can just turn into like this crazy place that isn't effective, and it no longer becomes a place that people want to be and engage in because it's not moderated. So this is just the, again, broad level, high overview of social media and why what it's useful for. So we would like all of our organizations to have a Facebook page, which most do at this point. And we really want you to keep it active and engaging. This can be a place where you can set up events for your meetings to let people know about it. Moderators or folks who are in the group are able to talk about, post information about the other kinds of events and projects that there are going on in the community. This can be a really wonderful way to engage folks. And it's a good place to seek out information about programming. So again, if you have someone who's really interested in becoming a member of your group, they might want to go here and check this out. But it is important to have at least a couple of moderators helping to keep your Facebook page appropriate. And we will talk about what some of those things are. We want you to share verified and trustworthy information from reputable sources. Part of the moderator's job for a Facebook page is to make sure that people don't post unverified or unreliable information. This presentation, this part of the presentation, is not coming out of any particular political view. All this is trying to help folks understand that a lot of bad information can get spread around on social media. And we don't want your organization to fall into that bucket, either unintentionally or intentionally, because again, the best way to grow your Cherokee community organization is by putting out truth and making sure that people are being respectful of one another. So really that's the point of this. So I don't want anybody to believe that we're trying to push a certain political agenda, because that is certainly not the case here. It's just about making sure that information is correct and it's shared. I wanted to show this as well and just spend a little bit of time. You may have seen this before, but I just wanted to reiterate it because this is what is the media bias chart this was developed by an independent group that analyzed the different kinds of media that is available out there, like mainstream media, and sort of categorized it as being left-leaning, right-leaning politically, and then, so that's the left to the right here, and then reliability from less reliable all the way up to most reliable. I added a couple here, the Cherokee Phoenix and Untitled, which are news from the Cherokee Nation. Those can be, I added them there because they're not, they weren't on this, but those are usually those are trusted sources. So things that are being shared from the Phoenix or on a D-Squay are things that you can we would encourage you to publish. Those things are very relevant to what's going on in Cherokee communities. But if we're able to zoom in here, you can see the ones that are in the green box here in the middle. Those are the ones that are most often reliable. They're accurate information. And so we've got AP, Reuters, the Weather Channel, that's important, NPR, NBC, Houston Chronicle, ABC, CBS, Bloomberg, PBS, Wall Street Journal, The Economist. These are all good places to start. The closer you can get to this star at the top of the tree, the better. And again, Ana Disque and the Cherokee Phoenix are also great places to get resources. If you start seeing things that look like they're not real, they're probably not very good sources. Things like the Wonket, I've never even heard of that one. Occupy Democrats, Twitchy, these ones down here at the bottom, they're not always very reliable either. So we want to try to avoid those kinds of things, just because that can make your page less trustworthy, so that when you do have something great to share, we don't want people to disregard it. And so we'll talk about how to establish some guidelines around your Facebook pages here in just a moment or two. So I want to talk now about the email accounts. So Cherokee Nation, as part of the grant that they provided, I guess would have been 2018 and 2019, or 2019 and maybe early 2020, all of the organizations should have received their technology bundle. So it includes, some laptops and other devices that help you to stay in contact with your organization. And as part of that bundle, you should have received an email that is, for example, Cherokee Gadugi, whatever the organization name is, at gmail.com. And that email that was established by Cherokee Nation to your organizations is the email that we hope you will have somebody, 1 or 2, 3 people maybe, regularly checking that and making sure that communications from CCO have gotten to the organization. Obviously, I know that I've emailed people outside of this Gmail account, but we'd like for folks to start transitioning to making this one a primary account that folks can always check. And if you've ever been in any of my volunteer trainings, I talk about this concept of being hit by a bus, which I hope happens to nobody. But the idea behind doing an email like this, an email that is forever and ever and ever going to be your organization at gmail.com, the reason that this is helpful is that no matter who's in the leadership position, they will maintain consistent communication from CCO through this email address. So if you were hit by a bus, the one person that we usually email was hit by a bus, and we couldn't communicate with them, we want to have another way to be able to communicate with folks through this stock email and the stock email address. And again, this can be, email itself can be a hugely powerful tool for staying in touch with your community. If emails are written well and they're engaging and people know to expect them and understand what's going to be inside the email, they want to read those things. And I'll do a training series as well about how to make your emails the best ones that everybody always wants to read. So we will talk about that as at another point. But I did want to spend just a little bit of time today reiterating the importance of the email account that is set up. And if anybody has any questions or is having trouble accessing that, to let us know. You can certainly put that in the chat or the Q&A, and we can try to address those. Went over those top 2 bullet points, but I think that I just want to restate here that it's very important that this email is checked regularly and frequently by 2 to 4 people that have the login information to that. So that might be your board members, like the folks that are at the top, the top of the organizational chart, if you will, even though that organizational chart isn't maybe the most Cherokee way to think about organizing in our community groups. It's the one that the federal government has given to us so that we can make our 501c3 applications. So, but whoever it is that you consider leadership, or maybe assign a specific volunteer to check that and keep up to date, keep the rest of the group up to date with anything that happens in there. I would recommend not letting too many people have that access, just because we know the old adage, too many cooks spoil the stew, and would hate for your information to start going missing just because somebody, took over the account and now you can't get access to it or something. Not that people would do that, but these sorts of things do happen. And the point of the email address there is that we can always have consistent communication with you. Again, the email address that you were given is one way that your organization, people can get in touch with your organization. So on our website, or the CherokeesAtLarge.org website, all of the organizations are listed there with an email next to it. So if somebody's looking to join or get more involved with one of the at-large Cherokee organizations, they might Google and then get to this website where this email address lives, and it says, hey, if you want to be more connected to the Kansas City Cherokee group, email this, and it will come to this email. So again, this is why it's so important as a tool for growing your organization. Just another thing that we want to add in here is that whenever we would have the Chiefs picnics in person, and we would be there, like I said, in person normally, we have those sign-in sheets. So it lets us know how many people have come to this awesome event. And a lot of folks will add their email addresses to that. And again, this is a way that you can keep track of all of the emails that people have and stay in contact with those folks. If you are like, hey, I have those sign-in lists, we have the copies that you all gave us, but I don't know what to do with it, I'm not really sure how to add an email into this or anything like that, let me know. I will help you. I think that if you're interested, you pop this in the chat. Love to have a training where we go over that. Let me show you how to use all these features and create a mailing list so that we can consistently keep people engaged with what we're doing. Okay, so switching from emails now, we're going to talk a little bit about Zoom meetings. Organizations can and should keep meeting with one another during the pandemic using a virtual tool like Zoom. It's a great way for staying in touch while we have to physically and socially distance from one another. A lot of organizations, I know because we've gone through this process with the COVID grants, a lot of organizations have already established a Zoom account, either Zoom Business or the Zoom Pro, which I think that the business one, the Pro account, I think is the one that allows you to do webinars, which look like this one, where the Zoom Business account allows it, where there's all the people in the little Brady Bunch boxes. So in any case, we can do one of these trainings on specifically how to use all the different features of Zoom, if that's something that folks are interested in. Because, even though the vaccine is being rolled out, it's still going to take a really long time for everybody to get that, and us to be in a collective state where we can be in pre-COVID meeting environments. And so it does look like our virtual options are going to be our best options for now, for a little while longer. Hopefully, hopefully not too much longer. Excuse me, I need to just blow my nose. Okay. So if you would like a specific training on how you can learn and navigate all the features of Zoom and all the features of Gmail, I would love for you to just pop that in the chat somewhere, or just let us know. Raise your hand, say, yeah, that's me, I want to do that. We need to learn how to do those things, so we can get a feel for if that's the kind of programming that would be helpful for you moving forward. I did want to just take a few moments here to talk about some things that you can look forward to. We are going to be possibly rolling out some new technology. It's still being formulated. It may include the kind of functionality that we had for conference this last year. So if you want to share your experiences using a conference app and how that went, it would be great for us to know what worked, what you liked about it, what you didn't like, what didn't make any sense, so that we can take that into consideration as we're building this new program. And we'd love to know what other things would be helpful. This would be great if you could pop these in the chat, or, it looks like we're going to have plenty of time to go through this presentation, so we could even talk about it here a little bit. If you're interested, just raise your hand and we can do that. But it would be great to know what other things would be helpful to stay in communication. What do you need to know? Since I have you as a captive audience now, what do you need in order to better communicate with CCO, with the members of your organization, and between each other? That's a really important thing as well. So that would be really helpful to know. I did want to, I realized now that somehow we just I stepped the slides. I just skipped past these other slides here, which is really important. So I apologize. As I was going through this is the beauty of technology sometimes. As I was going through it, I was thinking, hey, I skipped over that. Where did it go? So maybe I just missed the slides. I apologize. Want to go back to Facebook, specifically talking about that. Okay. I had a couple of links that I wanted to pop in the chat, but I don't know that we have a chat because I don't see it. I can't see it, but I don't know if that means we don't have one altogether. But Donnie or Abraham, is there a chat function available right now? Maybe not. Okay.
There's the Q&A that's available.
Okay, there's a Q&A. So does everybody see the Q&A? Because here's what I'm trying to do. I have two links that I want to make available to everybody. So I was going to pop them in the chat, but I don't know that we'll have that. I will see if there's a way, maybe as we post this, we post the recording on our Facebook pages. I'll see if in the notes we can put the links to what we're going to take a look at there. So I will make sure that we do that. Thanks everybody for your patience as we learn this, some of the new ins and outs of these things. This is exactly the kind of reason that we have a presentation like this. So I just want to talk a little bit about moderating a Facebook page. Again, it's important for us to have Facebook pages in order to keep it active and engaging folks to sign up. But we want to make sure that people are, again, not posting nonsense, not posting stuff that trashes people who are trying to do good work. We want it to be positive information, and we want it to be factual information. And so there are some ways that you can help establish that culture of trust and respect in your Facebook pages by just, establishing a baseline for participations by asking folks to agree to basic group rules. So sometimes when you have a page, and somebody wants to join this group, you can go into the settings, and the approval process, like somebody always has to approve someone to come into the group, but as part of that approval process, you can say, hey, here are our rules for participation in this group, and you have to agree to these before we let you join the group, which is just very basic stuff. We call it, kindergarten rules, like no name calling, don't push each other down. I mean, obviously, if you're digital, you can't shove somebody. But cyberbullying is real, and it's real for people, not just kids who are in school, but also adults. And it can have real serious mental health effects on people. And so we want to make sure that we're facilitating and fostering a culture that is positive and reinforcing to folks and strengthens, and not pull each other down. So no name calling. I've seen this, even the most intelligent and well put together people sometimes just get nasty because there's like some screen that makes them feel disconnected from that. And name calling is simply, I mean, it's childish, and children are wonderful, but we as adults should know better than to behave that way. If there's disagreement, making sure that it's respectful is so important. We haven't, I think, especially in the last decade or so, instead of being able to formulate an opinion and base it with facts, people are just, saying they revert to name calling. There's not a conversation anymore, or they're about disagreement. It just gets nasty, and we don't want those kinds of things associated with the wonderful work that you're doing. And so again, this is why it's important to establish a baseline for participation by asking folks to just be respectful. No theming or othering. That's another really important, where, there's people will make a statement like, all you people in this group, all you people who are on the left, or all you people on the right say this. That shouldn't be acceptable behavior in a moderation group, in a moderated group either. And you can enforce these things by warning folks if you see that there's a thread, a factual post has been made, or, factual news information has been made, and then people want to start name calling each other, or, theming or othering folks. A moderator can go in, and it doesn't even have to just be the moderator. If you have people who are sort of self-regulating, it could be anybody who's, believes in the cause of this organization, to say, hey, that's not appropriate. We don't do that here. And ask them to take their post down, or you could warn them that if you don't take this post down, and if this kind of behavior and language continues, you will be blocked from the group. I encourage your organization to set up just some very basic standards for that procedure. Like, hey, if we see somebody, doing any of these things that goes against our guidelines, then here's how we're going to handle that. And then ultimately at the very bottom, the last straw would be, hey, you're blocked from our group. We can't, have you participating in this way, because it's just not healthy for anybody. And that's not the kind of work that you do. Our community organizations are out there to do awesome work in their communities. They're there to strengthen each other and support one another. So these kinds of behaviors that are just silly and childish aren't, they're not conducive to that. And as Cherokees, it's important that we step up and set this beautiful, standard for behavior that we know we have. So then a conduct guide, these are just some very basic rules. These are just baseline rules. Again, these are kindergarten rules. Well, not the spam and self-promotion, because I don't know too many kindergartners who are doing that kind of thing. But be kind and courteous. That's just basic. That's basic 101, how to live in the world. Be kind and courteous. And Abraham's done some really beautiful presentations about, kindness and courteousness as part of Cherokee culture. And so when you get ready to post something, realign with what that really means. No bullying or hate speech. That goes back to the theming and othering. We just don't do that. You shouldn't tolerate that kind of stuff. Even if the person who is being picked on or being bullied is of a different opinion, it's still, we rise above those things, and we say, the standard is this, and we are all going to adhere to that standard. No spam or self-promotion. That one, kind of a case-by-case basis. If somebody's, a service-based consultant and they want to, say, hey, I'm, going to be, I'm a tax accountant, and if you need your taxes done, I can help you with that. That kind of thing is maybe one thing, but, posting spam or inappropriate things that are just, self-promoting and they're not really helpful to the organization is probably just not a good thing to have on there, because again, you're trying to establish a culture of trust. And then respecting everybody's privacy is very important. I don't think that that's something that particularly needs to be reiterated here, but I will, just because it is important. So here are those the links that I wanted us to just take a look at. If I can do this, and I realize now that I'm going to have to do a new screen share. So I'm going to stop this real quick and go to a different screen share. Here it is. And thanks everybody for your patience as we switch over to this. Okay. So this, again, these links will stay in the presentation, but I will also make sure that you get clickable links below the description when we post this. But this is straight from Facebook. It's about writing great group rules. I think this is a good guide. The ones that I talked about in the presentation were just sort of the top 4 that floated to the top. But this one goes over into a little bit more detail. So I just wanted you to have that resource. Again, groups can benefit from having these rules to set expectations for the culture of the group early. You're able to do up to 10 rules, and they remind folks, these are the parameters of engaging with this group and these people. And setting those ground rules can help prevent conflict as the group grows. So again, I just really wanted to make sure that you had this resource and that you have, to find the community standards as well, which is, excuse me, I gotta move this ribbon, add this, add that, and boom. This is another resource from Facebook. And this one kind of goes a little bit, I don't want to say it goes deeper, but it goes to the next level, which is we're talking about community standards here. So these are the rules that Facebook holds. So they're like, if if an individual is violating any of these rules, Facebook's going to kick them out because they're just doing things that are inappropriate, which is a little bit bigger than the group itself. So we just don't want to escalate anything that happens in your group to this level. So I just wanted to share those resources with you. And now I'm going to go back to the actual PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so I'm going to pause there for Q&A. And I don't think that I see any questions in the Q&A. Oh, there it is. I don't see any that are open. Abraham, have you seen any? Or Donnie, I don't know if you guys have seen any questions pop through besides those that have already been addressed.
Yes, we did. We did have one here, just from Patsy. Mm-hmm. She was wondering about having a survey monkey regarding Zoom training to gauge interest.
I think that's a great idea, Patsy. This is why we continue to love Patsy, because she's always so forthcoming with great ideas, and she does it in such a classy and wonderful way. So thank you so much, Patsy. I think it's a great idea. And we might just do that just to kind of, hey, here are some possible topics, and what would be most helpful for you. If anybody else has questions about this, best practices, comments, maybe something that you've run into with your own groups, or not just Facebook groups, but any problems that you've had with your Gmail accounts or something like that, this is a great time to discuss it. We've got a little bit of time. We're way ahead of schedule, so I'm here to answer any of those questions that all of you might have. I'm not seeing any, so I'm going to go ahead. I want you to continue to ask questions raise your hand if you've got something you'd like to add or a specific situation that you'd like to address. I mean, that's what part of today's video or presentation is all about. But I am going to go ahead and just talk about this 501c3 status and process update for anybody who this might be a topic of interest for. Again, please continue if you have questions about the main part of the presentation about communication or Facebook or anything. We're still talking about those things. So pop your questions in the answer or in the questions box, raise your hand if there's something specific you want to address. But while we're waiting for those to trickle in, I am going to talk a little bit about this 501c3 status and process. So each of our organizations had fallen under the CNCA, and now that is dissolved and we are now under the executive order, this means that our organizations have more flexibility to become 501c3. Not more flexibility, they had plenty of flexibility to do it now, but we're definitely encouraging organizations to become the 501c3 nonprofit organization on their own. And this will give you a lot, it'll broaden your opportunities in many ways. We are still very much here to help with technical assistance. Will help you prepare your tax, the tax portion of this, which happens once a year, but it's a super easy process that is any organization that has income and expenses under $50,000 a year is able to file what's called an e-postcard. And so it's so simple. You log on, you get on your computer, you go to the IRS website, and it's like 3 boxes that you check. It just says like, here's my tax ID number, and then you would say our organization brought in less than $50,000 this year, and maybe a box that says our officers are the same or whatever. Or they've changed, and you submit that. So there's not a tax return. If you have less than $50,000, there's not a tax return. It's a very simple thing. What this will allow you to do, becoming a 501c3, is that it allows you the opportunity to have grant funds outside of Cherokee Nation, because so often a granting agency wants to make sure that your org is a 501c3 so that they can get that tax write-off and those benefits. So we're just, this is another way to grow your capacity and grow the great things that you're doing. And I will be contacting all of the organizations in the next couple of weeks to start you through this process of becoming a 501c3. The idea is that we will help you through this entire process, that will make it as easy as possible, that will help put all of the paperwork together with you, and that then you'll start this process of getting established through the state, which is the first step, and then usually very simple, and then from there with the federal government. And CCO also will help to pay for those fees that are associated with incorporating under the state and then becoming a 501c3. I'm going to be here to walk you through this whole process, and we've got a slew of other awesome folks in the background who are going to be able to help with that. So it's not something that anybody should be afraid of. We will get there together, and it's going to open a lot more doors for you. So I just wanted to give a short update on that and kind of let you know what's coming, that I'll be getting into contact with you in the coming days and weeks about that, and that it's not anything to worry about. We'll get there, we'll get through it, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good for everybody. So if you have any questions about that, certainly pop it in the Q&A as well. My presentation is done. I'm going to ask Donnie, Kevin, and Abraham if they have anything that they want to sort of reinforce, or something I didn't bring up that we'd like to discuss. This is certainly a good time to do that. Anything that you guys have to add would be awesome.
Hey, Lindy, this is Donnie.
Yes. Hi, Donnie.
I just wanted to add something on sources too.
Yes.
There are a lot of great sources now across Indian country. outside of the Cherokee Nation, there's Indian Country Today, which I think became Indian Country Media Network. And they have a great online source. They have Facebook page and all kinds of social media. So they post some really great news stories about what's going on across Indian country. There's Indians.com, INDIANZ, and .com, and they have some really great news stories as well. And sometimes I will just do a Google search on Native American news, and then it'll just bring up all sorts of stories across the country about what's going on in various areas. And so, and I also like to keep up with the Eastern Band. You know, they have the Cherokee One Feather paper, and they're online as well. So I like to just look for sources from other tribes, because we know that, you know, those are accurate, pretty accurate. And then there's also Native American news online. So I will look for a way to kind of maybe pull those resources together and get those posted. And that's a great way to just keep people informed and add information to a Facebook page. So it's, so, you know, it's active, so that the page is active. So I think that's all I had.
Thank you, Donnie. I don't know if you saw, I don't think you saw this. As you were talking, I was typing those into the notes of the presentation. So I'll make sure that those get added as a new slide, so that as folks are going through this, and they have this information, that they can see that and they can access that. So thanks for bringing those up. Those are also great resources too. So I appreciate that, Donnie. Abraham.
Lindi, could you talk about how at-large organizations can share our weekly presentations?
Sure. I sure can. There are, okay, so I'm going to answer this sort of in two parts, Abraham. There's a couple of different ways that folks can share any presentations that come from CCO. I have not logged into my Facebook page today, so I have no idea what craziness is on there. Otherwise, I would actually go on. I would screen share it and show you exactly how it happens. But I like I said, I haven't checked it today, so I have no idea what's sitting on my wall, and I wouldn't want to you know, have anything pop up that would be inappropriate. Not that I would have that, but just that wouldn't be appropriate for this presentation. So two parts of that question is that as I'm putting together a, you know, social media, this is how you do it, sort of mini training series, I will include specific instructions on how to do that with, like, this is, you know, you go here and then you click this and then you click that. Like, I will do that for that. But without being able to actually show you, like, share screen on something like that, I will tell you that there are several different ways that one could share weekly postings or anything that's coming from CCO. And one way is if anything that is on the CCO Facebook page can be shared. At the bottom of the post, there's like a little ribbon that says like comment and share, and the share is on the bottom right hand corner, and so you can just click it and it's a little arrow. And so then if you're, you know, scrolling through your Facebook page and you see that, actually I'll tell you what, I'm just going to do this, and let me just get to the CCO Facebook page and I'll actually show you how to do that. Again, I don't think anything too crazy is going to pop up here, but I just happened to see something. Community, give me just 1 second. Cherokee Nation Community and Cultural Outreach. There we go. So I'm going to get us to the page and show just a couple of functions of that. So thanks everyone for your patience. Here's the share screen, and here is the page I want to go to. Okay, so Oh, hey, look, there's me. That's a terrible photo. In any case, we are, okay, so let's say you're on the CCO Facebook page and you say, oh, wow, this is really great. The importance of vision and setting goals, which is really cool. I'm excited about this training that'll take place next week. You can see that I'm going, because again, we're on my Facebook page. So you have options here to like, comment, and share. So if you wanted to share this to your group page, you could go to this little link down here, this little button here that says share with a little arrow. You could say share to a group. So then this would come up. You have an option to say something about this. Wow, this is going to be awesome. And then I would pick whichever organization I wanted to share it with, and just click share. I don't know that maybe this group would like it. I'm not sure that all of my women entrepreneurs would care. Not that they wouldn't care, but in any case, shared. So then it's shared there. If you wanted to share it on your personal Facebook page, you just go to this top one here, share to newsfeed. You can do the same, share to a page. So that is not a group, but like a page that, you know, people like, it's a business page or something. Or if you want to share it specifically to a particular friend, you can say, hey, Eli, I want to make sure that you see this on your, on your Facebook page. I would do that there. So that is how you share something directly from Facebook. Now, the other thing, and I think maybe this is really what Abraham was getting at, is that if Cherokee Nation, if CCO sends you something to the, you know, the email address that we talked about, the one that we hope you have established, that when you get an article link to an article in your email, all you have to do is, again, go to this page, and oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing right now. I'll tell you, give me 2 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna go back here, share the screen, and okay. So we're gonna just kind of do a quick thing here. Let's again pretend that you've gotten an email and from Kevin or Abraham or Donnie or me that says, hey, here's this cool thing that's happening. We will put a link to the event or whatever, not an event, the article, whatever it is. You'll get a link which looks like, you know, it's like that blue, it's underlined and it's in blue typeface. And you would just go to your page. Let's pretend that that's what we're on. Create post, and you can say something like, hey, you should come to this. You should check this out. You should check out this article or whatever. And then all you have to do is copy and paste that link that you had. And of course, it's not going to work for me because I'm trying to show everybody live. And there it is. You just paste it onto the post, and a quick little link will come up, preview that folks can just click on that way. So that's another way to do it. So you can share it within Facebook if you're on the Anna D Square or Cherokee Phoenix or any of those other great news resources that Donnie just listed. You can share them by using the little arrow button and sharing to your page, to a group, to a particular person, or if you have the link to the news thing or whatever, you can just paste it in a post, and then you would hit this post button. I'm not going to do that because that's, I'm not trying to make a post on this, but just to show you, you would just hit post, and then it would get posted. So Abraham, I don't know if that answered the question. If it didn't and I need to show something else, just let me know. Or any other questions.
Perfect.
Okay. Excellent. Great. So that's how you do that. And I'll make sure that as we put together the social media little, you know, mini series training, that we go over that in greater detail, and I have better examples set up for you. So any other questions from our team or from anybody else on the presentation?
No, looks like we don't have any questions.
Okay, well then everybody gets an extra 10 minutes of their day back. So thank you all so much for being with us today. I hope you have a wonderful day. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them to me, to Donnie, to Kevin, Abraham, anybody on the CCO team. Will do our best to get back to you as soon as we can, once we have an answer. And thank you again so much for your time and attention today. Thanks for sharing it with me.